What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Robert R. Ricks. We are continuing in our reading of Magic Really Sucks. Hope you guys are doing well on the wonderful quarantine. We left off on Chapter 16. Okay? Chapter 16, Enter the Watchers. Antarctica, April 6th. The man meditated, and the wind brought him all the scents of the area, and he could smell the approach of the one he summoned. A Mazarak, do you bring me good news? Indeed I do. The Nephilim has manifested. The mysterious man opened his eyes, which were an intense blue, sampled from the deepest oceans in the most brilliant sky. And his power? We had a few watchers who passed him while he explored his new world. From a distance, he seems powerful. Seems? A Mazarak took a cautious step back. We need to know. Find out. Use the soldiers. Attack him. If he dies, then he is useless to us. If he does what we hope he's able to do, he will be a powerful weapon to add to our forces. I understand, and it will be done. Mazarak slowly walked away, and the man returned to his meditations. Chapter 17. So, how you been? Utah Sanctum, 12:30 p.m., April 7th. Ethan had been up since 5 a.m., training and meditating. He smiled and finished cleaning his blade. Are you going to continue training this hard each day? Asked Kat. Ethan shrugged. Not sure. It's become such a habit. I don't know what else to do when I first wake up. You can sleep in now if you wish. You don't need to be doing marathon training. I doubt the challenges we face here are going to match the trials. Ethan nodded. Still, we have demons and other threats that I'm sure will test my mettle. Do you miss the library? Ethan smiled. Yes, although I think I read everything they had there. Yes, I know for a fact that you did. Sparkles walked in with a smile on her face. What's so funny? Asked Ethan. I'm just so proud of you. I was watching the training. Pretty crazy stuff. Thanks. Ethan felt his face warm. We're going to go looking for the judgment card? Yes. Let me clean up and change real quick, and we'll head out. Sparkles nodded and waited. Ethan stood, began casting a spell he had combined into a new spell from various other spells. The spell required a few movements and several glyphs he'd pieced together with intense concentration of desired outcome in a single phrase, which he said clearly. So fresh and so clean. A brilliant flash covered him, and he was standing in a wispy cloud that tingled around him. It flashed, and a gentle smell filled the air. His hair was styled, and his face shaved cleanly. He wore a military-style vest and cargo pants. Boots were clean and laced. His sword hung on his back in the ready, and the boot dagger as well. A gear belt with a holster rig with his sidearm along with a metal spike. Cat rested on his forehead and complimented the look. His image shimmered for a second, and then he stood wearing a very stylish business suit, and the weapons were not visible. Wow, that's a pretty slick spell. Cleans and trims, decks you out in gear, and then throws up illusion to keep the normals from calling the cops. Me likes. Ethan continued to concentrate and loaded up a few other spells to have in a ready as he was accustomed to doing. It took less than 10 minutes. Okay, I'm ready to go. Hell yeah, you are. Ethan walked to the front door, opened it, and closed and locked it behind him. When he got to the front of the building, he saw it was a brilliantly sunny day in stark contrast to the overcast weather they were experiencing just a day earlier. The weather is always so unpredictable, he mumbled. Ethan walked to his car and noticed a black SUV parked nearby, and the hairs on his neck stood up. A man was there watching him, with a grin on his face. Who is it? I'm not sure. Something about him feels off. One sec. Ethan focused on the man and saw he wore no illusion, and yet he wasn't right. The man seemed to notice and put his hands up in the air and threw two big OKs up. Randy? Ethan was confused. The two big OKs was Randy's move when he was being sarcastic or funny. This makes things easy. If he has a card and he's here, that saves us a lot of time in the hunt, said Sparkles. Ethan nodded, walked towards the SUV, relaxed. The window rolled down and the man smiled as he studied Ethan. Wow, I'm impressed, man. You look like $1,000,000. You look good as well, especially compared to the last time I saw you. You know, when you tried to kill me. Yeah, look, I get the point. You're mad. I'm a demon. But hey, for the record, I would have never killed you. I didn't even know what you were until later. Margot was the one. Where is she? In the back? Nope. She's dead. Lucifer took her out. Really? Why? 'Cause she was a bitch. He waved it away, seeming uncomfortable talking about Margot. I'm supposed to keep an eye on you, report back things. I'd rather not do the whole sneaky paparazzi gig. I'd rather be grabbing beers with you, playing some Xbox, etc. You know, like the good old days. No need to get all hostile and violent. Know what I mean? Sure. Listen, it's funny you're here. Saves me the hassle of tracking you down. You have something I need. I do? Yep. It's a tarot card. Judgment. Randy's smiling face went serious. Man, I can't give that to you. I'm supposed to hand that over to Lucifer himself. You are? Yeah. I had to go through a lot to get it, too. Why? What's the deal with it? I wasn't told anything more than to get it. Pretty much the same deal here. I was told about it, and I agreed to get it. You're disclosing a lot of information, warned Kat. So is he. Yeah, who does a Nephilim answer to? Whoa, old friend, that almost sounded racist. I meant no disrespect, it's just Nephilim fall outside the rules. I answer to hell, your ex answers to heaven, the guy who waxed my ad before answers to the council. Who do you answer to? I guess all of them, since they all seem to be keeping a tight watch on me. Ethan, I see 7 men approaching from all sides. Shall we retreat? Warned Kat. No. Friends of yours? Randy saw the men and raised his hand. Ethan, dude, I don't know who they are. I work alone. Maybe Lucifer has some backup for you. Not that I'm aware of. Yeah. Okay. Ethan turned, walked out into a large opening. The men paced him, kept their distance. Each had a blade, which made Ethan smile. Oh crap. You plan on engaging? Said Kat knowingly. Yep. Sparkles looked up at Ethan. Do you need my help? Or can I just watch? Get yourself some popcorn and watch. Will do. Sparkles faded out from view. Randy watched from the SUV. His heart was racing. He wasn't sure what to do. He was instructed to watch the Nephilim, but there were no instructions on actually helping him in the event something happened to him. He opened the door of the SUV and climbed up on the roof to get a better vantage point. Ethan allowed the illusion to fade so the 7 men could see he was armed. He thought about getting a sidearm and ending the fight quickly, but decided against it, as it was too noisy would draw the attention of the police, and he didn't want to deal with that. He reached his finger of his right hand and traced a glyph on his left wrist. Ethereal dragons sprang from his wrist, snaked along his arms and down his chest to his legs. Armor plates covered those areas and flashed for a moment and faded out. What the hell? Mumbled Randy as he witnessed it. This is your only warning. Leave now, said Ethan in a stern growl. The first of 7 charged in, while the others held their ground. He swung quickly, and Ethan sidestepped the attack easily and at the man. The armor, as it came in contact with the man's face, sparked and shimmered. The assailant fell back, knocked out. Ethan, look out, man! Cried Randy. 3 attackers from the back rushed in, and Ethan spun and deflected 2 of the strikes with his forearms, and the metal hit the armor, and the blade shattered. The remaining attacker had swung low at Ethan's leg, and the blade shattered as it came in contact with the armor. As quick as lightning, Ethan threw 2 punches, which were placed at nerve points of the 2 men. Who struck high. They dropped to the ground, screaming as their bodies felt as if they were on fire. In the next moment, Ethan unleashed a roundhouse kick which seemed to glow and created the appearance of five legs snaking out. They hit the man in his ribs and sent him flying into one of the men writhing on the ground in agony. 4 men down in less than 7 seconds. Randy, your guys are not even providing me any sport. I'm not even breaking a sweat here. Dude, how many times I gotta tell you? They ain't with me. Keep old Randy occupied, will ya? Said Sparkles. Why? I got a plan. Just keep doing what you're doing. Okay. The last 3 attackers stood there silently. One of them was larger in size and had size in each hand. Okay, Raphael, you want next, or are you going last? The last man motioned. The 2 came in fast. Ethan jumped in the air as the blade strikes aimed at his eyes missed. As he cleared the blades, he flipped and kicked the 2 men in their heads, sending them back the way they had come. They landed at the feet of the large man. He looked them over and nodded to himself. He brought the size up, and it flashed brilliantly, momentarily blinding Ethan and Randy. He's coming in low. Move left, warned Kat. Ethan had trained for 10 years with Kat, and she complimented him in all ways. The trust was never questioned. He moved as she guided, and as his vision returned, he delivered an elbow solidly behind the man's neck, which sent him slamming into Randy's SUV. Careful, man, I just got the ride. Large man stood and ignored Randy. He threw the 2 sides at Ethan, who leaned back and easily avoided the first sigh. The second he caught, sent flying back into the large man's head. Holy shit! That was some Matrix meets Big Trouble in Little China, Randy bellowed out. He was impressed. One man was still moaning in agony. Ethan lifted him up, traced a glyph on his chest. The man's body went limp. Who do you work for? The man stared at Ethan and smiled. You are the one, the man said almost fondly. I am the one what? You're the one we've been waiting for, the man said in 4 syllables. Ethan, on the roof, said Kat. Ethan scanned the rooftops, and Randy noticed, and he looked as well. There were dozens of cloaked men who were crouched watching. Oh, hell, said Randy. They all stood in unison and bowed, and portals opened behind them, and all but one vanished. The one that remained had a bow. He let an arrow fly, and Ethan caught it before it could kill the man he was holding. At the back of the arrow was a small piece of parchment. It had a glyph on it, and some writing which Ethan didn't recognize. It's Enochian, said Kat, meaning, I think those are watchers. What? Ethan, get ready to port us back to the sanctum, said Sparkles in an urgent tone. Why? You'll see in a second. Dude, who the hell were those? Asked Randy. I'm not sure, Randy. Ethan tossed the man he was holding a few feet away from him. So we're gonna hang or what? Asked Randy with a grin. I'll let you know. Sparkles materialized next to Ethan's feet with a smile. What's up? He asked as he looked down at her. During all the fun, look at what I found. Sparkles revealed the judgment card. Good job, Sparkles. I'm afraid we have to go, old friend. Wait. Why? Sanctum, said Ethan as he released the spell and the portal started taking them back to the safe house. As they started to vanish, Sparkles revealed the card for Randy to see. Why, you sneaky little A moment later, they were back in the safe house. Sparkles had the largest grin on her face. Outside, Randy was frustrated, angry, afraid, and exhilarated all at once. He walked over to the man on the ground. He grabbed him. He walked over to the men on the ground. He grabbed the man who was conscious and nerve-blocked. He dragged him around to each of the others and made the man watch as he killed each one. You scared? Should be. I just lost something my master wanted, but I think I also earned some trust from my old friend there. You may have information that might save my bacon. We're going to be close friends soon. He lifted the man and carried him to the SUV and threw him in. Let's go for a little ride. Chapter 18, The Hunt is on Tokyo, Japan, 1:11 p.m., April 8th. Val had been hunting for leads for 2 days, and frustration was giving way to thoughts of returning to America when her luck changed. A message arrived by an unlikely source. a beautiful small fox. The fox had jumped into her hotel room and simply bowed and dropped the scroll on the floor and then exited the way it had arrived. Valk retrieved the scroll and smiled. It was a formal invitation to a dinner, with specific instructions to wear the colors purple and bring the invitation. On the bottom of the page was a golden glyph that glowed slightly. When she examined the glyph closer, an image of a woman appeared and lifted off the parchment and floated midair. She was a beautiful woman in a flowing gown. "I understand you have been searching for me. You're very resourceful, and I'm curious as to why you seek me out. Let's save some time and get to know each other. I'm throwing a dinner tonight, and I'd love to speak with you. You will bear this mark." A symbol of a golden dragon appeared and flew to Valk's hand. It landed gently and became a small glowing tattoo. "To gain access to the garden area, my guardians will allow you to pass. You have my word that no harm will come to you as long as you do not do anything foolish. Until later, Valk." The image faded, and Valk noted that the woman knew who she was. Valk was careful not to use her name or anything that could be used against her. Obviously, the woman was connected well to find her information so quickly. Regardless, Valk was excited. The woman claimed to be the one she was looking for. If it was indeed Ethan's mother, she hoped she would get answers. She knew there was only one way to be sure. Valk spent the rest of the day shopping for the right attire. She was not going to risk using a glamour spell for such an important meeting. After she found the perfect look, she struggled with the idea of going in armed or unarmed. She decided to go with nothing but her outfit, her spells, and her wit. She found a lovely purple dress that moved as if it were alive. She bought a velvet purple eye patch to cover her scarred eye. One of the things in Japan that Valk loved was the magic transport system. Anywhere in Tokyo, you could walk up to a device which resembled a phone booth, step inside. A voice would ask you where you wanted to go, and the door would close. If there was a booth near where you wanted to go, the door would open and you would walk out. This freed up transport spells from being queued up in a mage's mind, allowing for other spells to be in the ready. Valk walked into the transport pod outside her hotel and read off the address. She expected she'd need to walk or find another connection to get to the event, and was surprised that her pod opened into a huge entrance hall with dozens of people talking and laughing. Two large men stood on either side of the tube and looked at Valk expectantly. She showed the invitation, and they nodded, motioned for her to enter another larger room. She walked where she was directed, and something seemed off to her. There was a universal movement to the people around her, and something felt familiar. She closed her healthy eye and focused with her scarred eye as she moved the purple velvet patch. The room itself shifted, and she realized she was standing in an old ruined temple. The people around her who were staring at her were ghosts. The two men were actually animated stone dragons. A faint clapping could be heard, and she spun around. "You have the gift of true sight, to see even beyond the magic." Valk covered her eye with the patch, and everything returned back to its splendid, rich tapestry of color and life. She saw the woman who she was supposed to meet materialize in front of her. "Allow me to introduce myself. I am Inari. You were looking for Mariko Higashi. I was intrigued when my people started reporting that a woman from America was inquiring about me. It's been a while since anyone has searched me out." She turned to enter the room that the men had motioned Valk to enter. "Let's go somewhere a little more private." Mariko opened the door. It led out into a beautiful garden. As Valk passed the threshold, her hand flared for a brief moment. She noted it tingled wildly. "I assume if someone did not have the mark, something nasty would happen to them?" "Yes." Valk was taken aback by how beautiful the garden was. They stood on a wooden bridge that shimmered a lustrous gold. Under the bridge was a large koi pond with fish the size of large Rottweilers. Trees surrounded the entire garden, and cherry blossoms drifted by gently along a cool breeze. Looking up, the stars twinkled. Valk did not recognize any of the constellations and realized she was not looking at the stars from Earth. "It's beautiful here. No wonder the Oracle couldn't locate you." "We're not on Earth." "No, dear. When we passed the threshold back there, we passed into my own personal dimension. Your own dimension? Valk was shocked. Yes, I created it. You created this? How? Humans are not able... Yes, you begin to understand. You're not human. No, I am not. Valk realized she was in a league way outside her comprehension and dropped to one knee and bowed deeply. Rise, child. There is no need for that. I appreciate the sentiment, but it is not required. Do you know why I'm here? Because of my son, I assume? Yes. The Oracle thought by me coming and finding you I'd be able to help Ethan in his transition to a Nephilim. I hate that word. Really has a negative connotation these days. What would you call him? A demigod, a celestial being, son of the goddess Amaterasu. Valk was starting to realize the scale of what was being told to her. She had never expected to find a real goddess or even speculate that a watcher could couple with a goddess. I am very confused. I imagine you would be. How is this possible? I thought there was just God, the devil, watchers and demons and things of that nature. God created everything, etc., etc. Yes, the Father created all, but man, who is created in his image, created us. In the beginning by necessity to explain the world around them, but as time went on, to hold on to as part of their belief system. Man's collective consciousness created us and gave us power. There was a time in the early days I had the power to do almost anything. I'm still powerful, but I'm not interested in worshippers and all that other business. I'm content in my garden and beauty. But tell me more about my son. The story goes, you and a powerful watcher were together and Ethan was stolen away and placed in foster care after foster care. Is that true? Laying with a watcher? Yes. Was my child stolen away? No. We fully knew his potential and decided it was for the best to send him to America under the care and watchful eye of his father. This seemed rational, and I knew there wasn't anything normal on Earth which could hurt my son, so agreed. Time for immortals moves quickly, you see. It seems like only yesterday my son left this very garden. I am not human, so please do not judge my actions as such. I knew he would have a life and would learn more and find his own path without my intervention. Valk nodded in a way it made sense to her. Amaterasu smiled. I see in your heart you understand. It is not that I do not love my son. It's my love for him that keeps me away from him. I'm kind of a controlling power. Everything has to be a certain way with me. I did not wish this for him. Can you tell me about his father? Ethan knew some details about you, but obviously not the full scope of who and what you are. But we know nothing about him. Ah, yes. Who could smooth-talk a goddess into something taboo? Azazel. He had a way about him. He was a sly one. The magic he spoke of, which the sun resonated with me deeply. Even stripped of magic, he could still command the elements. I loved him dearly. The passion we shared was enough to illuminate 1,000 suns. Valk nodded. Sounds like you guys had something special. What happened? After my son was born and we spirited him off to America, Azazel visited less and less. We drifted apart. I was not angry. I have worshippers who vie for my attention constantly, and I knew Azazel would not last. I am happy, though, I have a memento of the passion with him, my son. When was the last time you saw Azazel? 10 years ago, said Amaterasu with a nod of her beautiful head. Is there anything you'd like to say to Ethan? The goddess shook her head. Val continued to process the information, dazed by the revelation. I'd like you to give this to him. I'd like you to give him this. Amaterasu reached out her hand to Valk and handed her a beautiful ring in the shape of a dragon wrapped around the sun. When he wears it, he will understand a great many things as I do. He will know the depth of my love for him. Amaterasu examined Valk, and as she did, reacted as if she noticed something for the first time. You are much more than you know, my child. She stared deeper, then noticed the tattoos. My dear girl, why would you jeopardize your soul? What object would be worth it? My father was killed. I want to find a man who did it and make him pay dearly. I see. That is unfortunate. I wish I had met you before you made the deal. Perhaps we can find a way to undo the agreement? Val shook her head, taken aback by Matarasu's offer. The bargain was made at the top level. Not sure if there's a way out of it. Is the deal working out to your satisfaction? It led me to the Oracle, and then Ethan, and now you. Something is happening. If I get him and make him pay, then I think the bargain is fair. And Matarasu nodded slowly, and a tear rolled down her cheek. As it did, it began to solidify, and it was at the bottom of her chin. She removed it and motioned over it. A small golden chain held it in place. Valk, I want you to have this. Maybe it will be used to you one day. Amaterasu looked Valk deep in the eyes and smiled softly as she took the chain. Thank you, said Valk, moved by the gift. There was something in the way Amaterasu had stared at her that touched her deeply in her soul. Suddenly there was a brilliant flash, and Valk was standing in her hotel room. She stared at the necklace that the goddess had given her and was overwhelmed with emotion. She laid in the bed, not caring to undress, and cried herself to sleep. Chapter 19. Master's Choice. Hell, April 7th. Lucifer sat on his obsidian throne with a glowing set of red veins that seemed to shift just below the surface of the slick black material. The throne room was empty. There was a low rumbling noise which Lucifer realized came from him. He growled as he felt an anxious connection reaching out to him by one of his subjects. Yes, Randy. An image materialized in front of Lucifer, and the nervous Randy was there holding a severely beaten man. Why do you show me this? Because, my lord, he has information which I think is interesting, and also I offer him as a small token of my shame. Lucifer sensed bad news coming and wanted to hear it first before Randy's feeble attempt at appeasement. Shame? Let's hear your failure first. I had the judgment card in my possession and lost it to the Nephilim. Lucifer was perplexed. How did the Nephilim get it from you? He had help. I understand that. What I don't understand is how you're still alive. Lucifer smiled gently. His small, jagged, sharp teeth revealed themselves. Master? I mean, if you tried to take something from you and you knew I requested it, then why did you not fight for it with your last dying breath? If it were that way, I would have, but it was just not done with power or force. I was distracted watching the Nephilim dispatch 7 warriors who attacked, and as I watched, one of his sneaky thieving friends stole it from under me. Really? How interesting. Share with me your experience. Randy closed his eyes and focused on the memories and revealed all of it, up to the point he realized Sparkles had the card. The images faded, and Lucifer rubbed his chin in contemplation, then started to laugh. It was a deep, bellowing laugh. Randy was shocked. He had never once heard Lucifer laugh, not even a chuckle. Rumor was, if you heard Lucifer's laugh, it was over for you and anyone within range. Master? The cat. The look on your face. The cat stole it from you. Oh my. The rumors of fake cats are well deserved, but the look on your face. Sorry, so funny. Randy was embarrassed. I'm keeping that memory loop. I'm sharing it with all of hell. Wait, what? Yes, you wanted me to forgive you losing the judgment card. This is the price. Oh, this is amazing. Lucifer wiped a tear from his eye and snorted. He regained his composure and shifted his attention to the beaten man. What is his story? He's part of a cult who worships the fallen watchers. Really? Why would they attack the Nephilim? It doesn't make sense. They're engaging his power. The mission was to try to kill him, and if he survived, he will be introduced to his father. His father? Which of the fallen is his father? Randy smiled. It seemed Lucifer was interested in the information. Azazel. Lucifer's eyes widened. Azazel? Randy shook the beaten man. The name is correct, human. The man nodded. The rumor is that Azazel's his father. He's had many of us watch. He is very interested in him. Yes, Master. The possible name of the Nephilim's father is Azazel. You've done well, Randy. I can overlook the loss of the card for now. I know you're already working on a plan to reunite with your friend. I'm sure you have a solid plan on retrieving the card as well as any other card the Nephilim might be in possession of. Yes, I'm working on that. Good. Thank you for checking in. Lucifer waved and the image faded away. A fallen watcher, a Nephilim, a fave cat, a wayward demon. What an ensemble. Chapter 20. 1 down, 4 to go. Utah Sanctum, 1:45 p.m., April 7th. Sparkles, you rock. Thank you. Sparkles took a bow. How did you find it? Well, while you were laying a smackdown on those wannabe hand or foot or whatever ninja attack force, I decided to play it safe and switch to astral plane where it'd be safer for me. I could still see the earth plane from there. And the odd thing was, I saw this glowy thingy. So when I went over to see what it was, I saw the card. I phased back in and Randy was on the roof. Was so interested in watching you, didn't see me. Stealthily, I snuck in the SUV, saw the journal, flipped through the pages, read each page quickly so that we could review it after, saw the card, pinched it, and then booked it. Hand or foot? After all of what I just said, that's what you ask about? Ninja Turtles? Daredevil? Not much Netflix? Oh, yeah, I got it. Okay. So those journal pages, what'd they say? Got me. They're in different languages. Some were in Chinese, I think. Some were in languages I didn't recognize. Share with us. Maybe I'll recognize some of the languages, said Kat. Sparkles focused on her memories and the journal she flipped through of the journal as she had flipped the pages. Ethan saw them as intrigued. The pages had drawings, mathematical formulas. There were also sketches of other cards, as if multiple cards were variables in some elaborate equation. Ethan was good at math, but the formulas didn't make sense to him, because these are magical formulas. There will be some overlap, but there's a lot of differences. Ethan nodded. There are also geographical locations: Antarctica, Israel, Iraq, India, and Egypt marked in an almanac that he found. The languages were in different locations, as if many hands were jotting notes. Ethan recognized some of the languages, and then a few lines jumped at him. Hey, isn't that the same language we saw in the arrow? Yes, that's Enochian. There's the other side represented as well, Demochian as well. So angel script, demon script, and others as well. What are those little dashes there? Those would be Sumerian. Very old. What the hell is this? Asked Ethan. If I had to guess, a very old and powerful spell that requires the Oracle's missing trump cards. What kind of spell? I'm not sure. I know one thing for sure, though. What's that? Your old buddy Randy didn't know what he had. If he did, he would not have been carrying it unsecured. Sparkles. No warding. No protection? Nope, nothing. But I do know one thing for sure. The card is visible in the astral. Not much magic shows up there. Those cards are mad powerful. Ethan scratched his head and sighed. I would imagine the typical groups are gonna want to control it, right? Kat, you rode with Mordecai for a bit. He said we should get the card back to the Oracle. You think he was on the up and up? Mordecai is a good man, but he answers and serves the council. I'm sure he's reported everything we've told him. He may have thought what he was saying was right, but if the council orders him to get the card, he'll do it. That's what I thought. Ethan was nervous. Had they just inadvertently put themselves in the collective crosshairs? Okay, guys, what do we think about the Oracle? She seems pretty much on the up and up, but my character assessments are not solid since my best friend of 20 years turned out to be a demon. Yeah, but your ex was an angel, said Sparkles with a grin. That I let get away? True. I have heard stories of the Oracle. Nothing bad that I can recall, just very powerful and accurate in her abilities to see possible future events. Okay, let's work from there. Let's work with that then. So, if she could see the future, then she knows we have the card. She also knows we're going to be questioning everything and everyone. So then why hasn't she contacted us? Makes sense to me. Maybe she can't see everything. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Anyone expecting a guest? Ethan glanced at Sparkles, who shrugged back at him. Ethan walked to the door and looked through the peephole. He saw a young man in a t-shirt and jeans. Who is it? Pizza. Pizza? Yeah, extra cheese, large, anchovies, mushroom, and pepperoni. Ethan glanced back at Sparkles, who again shrugged. Ethan opened the door and accepted the pizza, examined the young man who appeared to be a normal human. How much? Nah, man, already paid for, and thanks for the large tip. Have a good one. Ethan brought the pizza in the apartment and set it on a table. When he opened the box, their collective mouths dropped. The oil from the pizza had created a message on the top of the box. Congrats on retrieving the judgment. See you soon. Oh. Well, I guess he has some serious skills. Plus, he knows a good pie. Sparkles motioned and a slice rose and she got to work munching away. Well, I would assume she already knows what the next move is going to be since she knows everything so far. I'd like to examine the card, said Kat with a curious tone in her voice. How do you want to do that? Take off the goggles, place me on the card. That way I can physically scan it and experience it for myself. Ethan shrugged. He had done this before with Kat while training at the monastery. It was a method she had used in helping him craft his blade and his gun. Ethan retrieved the card from Sparkles, and as he touched it, fragments of images flashed in his mind. Nothing cohesive, nothing solid, just emotion. Fear, anger, solitude, hopelessness. Ethan dropped the card quickly, and it slid under the goggles. Yeah, have fun with that. I'm gonna meditate, he said, irritated. Yo, you know you want some of this, man. Come on, have a slice. I hate eating by myself. Makes me feel like a fat cat. And not the PHAT type of fat. Ethan ignored Sparkles and sat down in his favorite pillow and was about to start meditating when he felt Valk in his mind. Ethan. Valk, what's up? I learned a lot about you and your mother. What? That was fast. Yes, she actually found me. She's alive? Yes. Does she know what's been going on with me? Yes. There's some things I need to tell you. I don't want to do it this way because the information changes everything for you. I'm worried that even though the magic we are communicating with is strong, I worry about who might access. I'm curious. The Oracle just showed us in a pretty creative way how accurate her abilities are, and yet she couldn't see my mother. There's a very good reason for this. I'm on my way back and should be able to jump near you by tonight. We should meet and talk, but we need somewhere safe. This place is safe. I have to figure out how to add you to the safe friends list. The previous owner was really paranoid about her privacy. Can't say as I blame her. Let me get back to you. Okay. Ethan got up and walked to Sparkles. Hey, do you know how Melissa added safe people so they could access the sanctum? Yep. You do? Yep. How? I taught it to her. It's pretty easy. Spell is kind of like a living firewall. Ethan nodded. Smart. So let me guess. Some kind of access list. Yep. And also the security in the place is primo. You can tap into it from outside and see what's happening even if you're away, if you have an attuned scrying stone. You have one? Nope. Melissa had one. With this stone, you could see what's going on here? Sparkles took another large bite, and Ethan noted how large her teeth were. So she could be watching right now? Sparkles nodded. Yeah, I suppose. Then Heaven could know about the card too? Sparkles nodded again, slowly. Yeah. And if they want it as well, then they know we have it. Do the wards block angels? Sparkles caught on to where Ethan's questions were going. No. No, they don't. Only human mages, demons, and a handful of mystical entities. Do you think Heaven would want the card? Sparkles considered, took a smaller bite. I mean, it's old, very old. God might have created itself. The card is judgment. Yes, I think so. I'm not comfortable with the possibility of someone else other than Melissa keeping eyes on us. Do you know where those spells are at? Yep, I'll light 'em up for you. Sparkles mumbled and purred. Several locations around the sanctum lit up, and Ethan could see small stone fragments floating. Ethan pulled his sword free and with focus struck each stone, and after a few minutes he felt better. Dude, you're like way paranoid. Paranoid keeps you alive. So how can we add Valk to the list? Hey. You just met this chick, and you want to give her access? She needs a safe spot to tell me some things she discovered about my mom. Let's do this. Can we have a spell that ejects her and then updates the list to prevent access? Also, is there a way to ward this place against angels as well? Wow, you really are paranoid. I'll have to look that up. I think the answer is yes on ejecting and blocking a Valk, but the angels are harder. There's probably a better way to protect. I've been thinking about it since you went away to the monastery. Perhaps we can make this pocket dimension shift between planes at random intervals, and when we go into lockdown, we can make it shift in more difficult locations, and then when we feel safe, pull it back. You know how to do that? Nope, but I think you could figure it out when I explain how easy it is in theory. Why theory? Because most of the folks I know aren't as powerful as you. You mix spells like whipping up some Kool-Aid, so yeah, you could pull it off. I'm sure of it. And if I fail, well, then you might get lost in some obscure pocket dimension, but hey, you're the paranoid one. Okay, I'll think about it. For now, I'd like to work on allowing Valk in here and having the safeguards we were just talking about. Sounds legit. Sparkles pointed at Kat. I think she wants your attention. Ethan turned and saw the goggles glowing. He reached out and placed them back on his head. Okay, I'm done with my examination. I like your idea of discussing with Sparkles. The dimensional barriers you'd create would be similar in some ways to what the Oracle has. There is one way in, and only we have the key. I apologize for not noticing the scribe markers. I wasn't looking for them here. No big deal. So how would we go about creating the shift? Okay. Imagine the porting spells. Kat started. Yeah, easy. Now, instead of us going somewhere, we make the sanctum go somewhere. Where? Anywhere. The fact that we're vague on the spell is the beauty. It won't really know where to go, so it'll randomly put it somewhere. Like a volcano? Ethan said, tilting his head. No. We use operators like safe, breathable, warm, cool, soft, etc. I see. Okay. Now we need to mix in the sanctum for a safe zone, so we can come back. The random fluctuation is going to be a little interesting though. Why? Because we'll need an object powerful enough to hold the spell and also hold a timer on it. Okay, let me repeat so I'm on the same page. We need an object that can handle serious magic strain. We need to have two states on the object. Safe, which keeps us or puts us back here, and unsafe, which kicks in a timer, fires off the random transport spell until we click safe. Exactly. Risks. Time fluctuations, dimensional travel could be unpredictable on time like it was when you went to train. 10 years there was only 10 minutes here. So there could be opposites. 10 minutes here equals 10 years out there, or even 10,000 years. How do we prevent that? Ethan asked with concern in his voice. We'd have to add that in the dimensional jumps. Even with the risks, I like the idea. Sparkles, it's your boat, Captain. I'm just along for the ride and the pizza. Okay, so any ideas on the object powerful enough? Asked Ethan. Yes, replied Kat. What? Your watch. Ethan glanced at the watch Melissa had given him. The best part of this is you can wear the watch, put it in safe mode, and it will pull you back here and start the rotation. Ethan nodded. It made sense. It was a good plan. Yeah, just make sure you let me know before you activate the watch. I don't want to be locked out. You got it. Okay, so help me figure out the spell structure, the movements, the glyphs that I'll need to put up, and then we'll enchant this baby. I'll need a few hours, said Kat. Okay, I'll meditate. Yeah, you guys do that. I'm gonna take a nap, yawned Sparkles. Ethan glanced at the pizza and saw only a single slice remained, and the anchovies on it were missing. Chapter 21. First Assignment, Heaven, April 7th. Melissa was enjoying the sparring. It wasn't often that she got a chance to get a good solid lesson, since the atmosphere in heaven was mellow and full-out warfare hadn't happened for a very long time. The archangels in particular were good challenges, and she felt honored and humbled at the same time to be sparring with Raphael. You need to keep your guard up when you come in for the attack. You're leaving yourself open for a counter. Please try again. Melissa lunged in and did as she was instructed, and was glad she did, because as she missed her mark, she pivoted at the last moment and blocked what would have been a nasty counter. A smile played on Raphael's face. He wasn't pulling punches, and Melissa understood. He was enjoying the chance to flex his wings as well. "That's better," she grinned. "Thank you." A messenger entered the sparring chamber with a worried look on his face. Melissa assumed it was for Raphael, since the archangels were routinely dispatched to various hotspots. She was surprised when he stood in front of her and watched as he handed her a summoning stone. "You are needed in the office of Abathar. Time is of the essence." Melissa looked at Raphael, who looked a little relieved. He waved at her gently. "Go see what the emergency is. We shall continue when you have spare time." She nodded, pressed the summon stone in her hands. A brilliant flash, and she was standing in the office of judgment. "You have summoned me?" "Yes, Melissa. I have a mission for you, which I feel is important. I have spoken with Maniel, and he's agreed and sanctioned the one you shall act as guardian of." Melissa was excited, and yet there was something in her that cried foul. Abathar was not in the habit of assigning guardian angels. His job was to judge. She had a sinking feeling in her heart as she glanced at Abathar's desk and saw the scry stone of her old apartment was dead. "Let me guess. Ethan." Abathar looked a bit nervous and cleared his throat. "Yes, there have been some developments, and we are concerned. Thus far, he has been doing exactly as you thought he would, but he has recently come into possession of a power trump which we had lost track of long ago. It is powerful on its own, but it seems he has been enlisted by the Oracle to retrieve more than one." Melissa shrugged. "I mean, it's been less than a week. How much trouble could he get into? I've heard whispers of power trumps, but thought they were legends of the old world. The legends, I'm afraid, don't even begin to scratch the surface of what the cards can do. We are able to hear them reference an elder spell, one written in multiple languages where multiple trumps are required. This has us concerned. A lot has happened since you last saw him. For him, it's been 10 years and a week. In fact, he is fortifying your old sanctum to even block access to us." "That's impossible. There's no real warding to block angelic access." "That's not entirely true. There are ways. He's smart and powerful. He could decide to leave the apartment and find another location. If we don't know where the location in question is at, we lose time as we track him." "Oh, so you'll think he'll move out?" "We're not sure of anything, and without eyes on him. In any event, we're assigning you to act as his guardian angel with one small additional responsibility." "Okay, this is interesting." "We want you to ensure us that the power cards never end up in the hands of Lucifer." "Lucifer is interested?" "Yes. Before the scry stone went dark, we were watching them discuss where they had acquired the card. A demon named Randy had it. Sparkles was able to steal it, while Ethan had him distracted." "Wow, things have changed down there. Last I had heard, Randy was killed by the council." "Well, he's back on the earth, and Lucifer has the ability to do that. We're officially concerned and need someone familiar with the situation to be our eyes and ears." "Might not be easy, especially if what you said is true about him being gone for 10 years. That's a lot of time to get over someone. I kinda told him he'd never see me again." Abathar seemed uninterested in what she was saying. "I will do my best. Is this a full engaged mission where I have free judgment on solving issues as they arise? With the nature of the Nephilim's power, I may need to bring the full force of my abilities in play if we encounter problems. I would imagine if he's been gone for 10 years, his abilities are fully functional. If I'm to protect one as powerful as him, I need authorization to use my full abilities as well." "Yes, you are sanctioned to use any and all methods at your disposal to protect him, as well as any power cards he comes into contact with. If he decides the safest place for them is here in heaven, we would not be opposed to that." "I get it. You guys don't like the artifacts out in the wild. But are you asking me to do everything in my power to get the cards? What's the real mission, Ethan, or the cards? Abathar resented the fact that the young guardian was being so direct, but understood it well. Protocol was being broken, but there was more on the line than he was comfortable telling the former human. The cards are the highest priority, but we are interested in keeping the Nephilim in good health. As it seems so far he is on the straight and narrow, and it's better to have him as an ally than an enemy. She nodded. I assume you want me to begin now? Yes. Again she nodded. I understand. Melissa turned and walked out of the office and proceeded straight to the gates of heaven to once again return to the earth. But this time she was a guardian, and she was also free to make decisions on her own. This is going to be interesting, she mumbled to herself. And yeah, this next chapter is 17 pages, so we're not going to be able to get that in there. But interesting enough, the next chapter is chapter 22, and it's called Lockdown. So I think that's appropriate considering the whole quarantine and everything else. So we're on chapter 22. We're on page 142 out of 323. And there's a total of 41 chapters. So that puts us pretty much on the halfway mark. Yep, almost on the halfway mark. So hope you guys are enjoying this. I'll keep doing this as long as I can, with the goal of finishing off the first book, and then probably after that we'll jump into the second book. Especially considering the fact that, I had one person actively in right now. So if we were even going to attempt real-time story time traditional, where we do the stories on the fly, it's not enough people. So that's going to be it for right now. Hope you guys are enjoying this, and I will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Be safe out there, and keep your head on the swivel and all that other good stuff, and be good to each other and be safe. I'll talk to you guys later.